Producing over 500 hours per week of talk radio, GCN Live is a world leader in talk radio. Archives for the following program can be found at gcnlive.com.
Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I specialize in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and often deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your vitality and health and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health issue. That's why we're here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 29 years of practicing pharmacy, I've seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes and hypertension and obesity and skin diseases like acne, eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds. Recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system. It's a regenerating system. It is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health or nutrition or prescription drugs, let us help you. Our phone number is 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010. If you're dealing with a health challenge, if you have a loved one dealing with a health challenge, please know if it's a chronic, long-term, degenerative disease, it does not have to be. Chronic degeneration is not the way of the body. Chronic degeneration represents something missing or something wrong. Correct what's wrong, correct what's getting into the system that shouldn't, replace what's missing. You guys, it's as simple as that. Nobody has to suffer. Nobody has to suffer with arthritis. Nobody has to suffer with inflammatory joint diseases. Nobody has to suffer with fibromyalgia, which we're going to talk about here momentarily. Nobody has to suffer with acne. Nobody has to suffer with heart disease. It's not in the body's way. The body's way is to heal. The body's way is to regenerate. We know this. We're witness to this. Every time we cut ourselves, we're witness to this. The bone is stronger at the point of the break. The bone heals stronger at the point of the break. This is the body's way. To heal stronger and bigger and better in response to stress and burden and trauma. If that's not occurring, if regeneration is not occurring, if degeneration is occurring, something's wrong or something's missing. Let us show you how simple it can be to reverse any chronic degenerative disease. Health is simple. Health is easy because it's the body's way. 844-236-6010 is our number. 844-236-6010. If you're interested in purchasing any of the longevity products, head over to brightsideben.com or pharmacistben.com or criticalhealthnews.com. Thank you to Jonty Collier and Robert Lundgren for setting those up. pharmacistben.com, criticalhealthnews.com, or brightsideben.com. And if you're interested in purchasing any of our Truth Treatment products, go to truthtreatments.com. Make sure you take a look at our retinol 5% gel. That's truthtreatments.com. All right, so we're talking vitamin E. I want to finish up a few things about vitamin E, then we'll go on to estrogen and the so-called sex hormones, fertility hormones, youth hormones, hormones that induce or stimulate everything we all love about being alive, energy and healing and beautiful skin and sexuality and fertility and creativity are all under the rulership of the so-called fertility or sex hormones. And we'll be talking about that here momentarily. Vitamin E is related to these hormones. Vitamin E is our protecting vitamin. It protects fats, which can then be turned into hormones. Vitamin E is our fat-protecting vitamin. Anywhere you have fats in the body, you will find vitamin E. The body will direct vitamin E. We use vitamin E to protect fats and skincare products, at least if we're conscious. Most cosmetic companies don't want to mess around with vitamin E. They'll use something called BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. You've seen it on bread. You've seen that ingredient on bread. BHT also protects the fats and grains and in bread. BHT is typically used in a skincare product. Not that BHT is necessarily bad. Life Extension recommends using high doses of BHT for cold sores, which is kind of interesting. I like using vitamin E in my skincare products because then you get the benefits of vitamin E in addition to the protection benefits for your product. Anyway, vitamin E is fat protecting in the body. That's where you'll find vitamin E on the outside part of cells. It sits on the outside part of the cells, acting to protect the cell membrane. This is especially true about nerve cells and brain cells, and this makes vitamin E really, really important for the nervous system and the brain. In fact, well, it's also important for the heart and the circulatory system and for the skin. It's important for a lot of things, but certainly it's way important for brain health and for the nervous system, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, movement disorders, Bell's palsy, all of these kinds of health issues. If you're dealing with, or you know somebody who's dealing with all of these kinds or any of these kinds of health issues, get them on 400 IU of vitamin E. Not just any vitamin E. Look for mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols. Mixed, that's the key word, tocopherols and tocotrienols. There's 8 different kinds of vitamin E. You want all 8 kinds. Most vitamin E's are going to give you the alpha tocopherol form, and that's, that'll work. But you might as well get if you're going to be using vitamin E for movement disorders or brain issues or nervous system issues or bipolar disorder or any of the wonderful ways vitamin E can protect your nervous system and your brain, you might as well get the best. And that would be the mixed tocopherol form. Vitamin E can also help if you're dealing with a condition called fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is a really, really miserable condition. It can feel like you've got knives stabbing all of your muscles. You feel like your nervous system is on fire. It's a muscle nerve disease. And guess what? Vitamin E can help. According to the journal Cell Biochemistry and Function, this is from June 2009, concentrations of vitamin E were significantly lower in patients with fibromyalgia, and there is a role for fat-soluble antioxidants, i.e. vitamin E, in patients with fibromyalgia. Again, this makes perfect sense when you understand what vitamin E is about. Vitamin E is about protecting fats, the fats that surround your muscle, the fats that surround nerves. Vitamin E is wonderful for pain relief from fibromyalgia, but also for any kind of muscle injury. If you sprain a muscle, or if you tear a muscle, or if you're working out and your muscles are sore, vitamin E is great post-workout vitamin. In fact, if you're a regular kind of a gym rat and you're working out a lot, you'd be smart just to stay on vitamin E, 400 IU a day. Fibromyalgia is absolutely miserable, and if vitamin E actually can help as a pain reliever because of its anti-inflammatory benefits. It also accelerates healing and reduce inflammation, but it actually can have a pain-relieving property. 5 million people in this country have fibromyalgia. It used to be called rheumatism. After it was called rheumatism until maybe the 1960s or 70s, and then they started calling it fibrosis. I remember when I was in high school, I used to hear about fibrosis, and then about somewhere in the early 1980s, people started calling it fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is just a description of what's happening. Fiber, muscle, pain. Nobody can... the diagnosis of fibromyalgia is just a classic example of the silliness of the medical model. You go in to a doctor, you tell him your muscles hurt, you got muscle pain, and then he tells you what you have in Latin, and then we think we have this condition. That's what medical diagnostics is. It's a description, and then we call it a disease. Now, description is a verb. This is so important, really. This is not semantics. Check this out. A description of something is it's explaining a process. A process is an action. So descriptions have a verb nature. They're actions. But we turn them into nouns, and then we say we have this condition, this disease. We take this process and then name it. And then that disempowers us because we think we're stuck with something. And we have been stuck with something. We've been cursed with something. A diagnosis is a curse. It doesn't have to be. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be just a description of what's happening. Fibromyalgia is just you got pain in your muscles. You got fiber, myo, muscles, algia, pain, muscle fiber, pain. It's just telling you what's happening in the body. But then we go and we think we have a sickness or a disease called fibromyalgia. And then we have to cut it out or poison it or somehow remove it instead of reversing it. That's what you want to be thinking about is how do we reverse the process? If there's there's an action that's happening, well, it's a verb, so it's reversible. A noun is not reversible. A verb is. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll continue when we come back from our break. 844-236-6010 is our number. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Got lines open for you. 844-236-6010. 844-236-6010. If you have questions about the longevity products, formulations, health challenges you or a loved one may be dealing with, if you want to wean yourself off your meds, or if you have a success story you'd like to share, we want to hear from you. Or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, we want to hear from you. 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended on the program, head over to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or you can call the phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. And if you want to purchase any of our Truth Treatment skin health products, go to truthtreatments.com, truthtreatments.com. Okay, so we're talking fibromyalgia here. Fibromyalgia, fiber muscle pain. It's a description of what's happening in the body. If you want to deal with a description of what's happening in the body, a verb, a process, what you want to do is you want to reverse engineer, go backwards, deconstruct, figure out what's happening, and then take the steps to go backwards. That's go back the way you came. That's how you deal with a process, with reversing a process. And if dis-ease is a process, that's how you deal with disease. So, fibromyalgia. With apologies to Sherlock Holmes, let's play medical detective here. Let's do some inductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is where you take a bunch of facts and then you come up with an idea or a theory or a concept that connects or relates all these facts, all these individual facts to each other. So you got muscle fiber pain. Muscle fibers are surrounded with nerves. When these nerves are inflamed, they get sensitized, and when pressure is applied, it hurts. Even when pressure is not applied, just the inflammation will hurt. So inflammation is the key. And no surprise there. This is behind everything. Inflammation is behind all chronic degenerative disease. Period. Period. And understanding this is really how you understand how to reverse disease, because inflammation is attack. Inflammation is defense, really, and defense is attack. Inflammation is a defensive response. It really sums everything up right there. It's all inflammation. Inflammation is a defensive response, and obviously, if you have a defensive response, you want to figure out what the offending agent is. A defensive response can be to either damage or something getting into the blood. Damage can do it. If a cell is damaged, if a tissue is damaged, if a structure in the body is damaged, that can cause a protective response. Or if something is getting into the blood inappropriately, that can cause a defensive response. Sometimes the blood will deposit the toxins and the offending agents in the various tissues in the body, and that can cause a defensive response. Any way you look at it, though, it's a defensive response to an offending agent. Now, here's where fibromyalgia becomes very interesting. 90%, or around 90% of the patients of fibromyalgia patients are women. What that tells you it's going to involve the female hormone estrogen. See how we're working here? Now, if you go to a doctor with fibromyalgia, he's going to tell you it's a mystery. We have no idea. If you understand what I just told you in the last 60 seconds, 120 seconds, you know more than your doctor about fibromyalgia. And it's just common sense. It's not fancy schmancy high-tech medicine. It's just common sense. Inflammatory response, defensive response, offending agent. Most of the patients are women. That means estrogen is going to be involved. Well, estrogen is a pro-inflammatory hormone if it's not processed correctly. Obviously, estrogen is important, but too much estrogen, the wrong kind of estrogen, poorly processed estrogen, all of these can cause an inflammatory response. Estrogen is processed in the gut and the liver. See how we're working here. We're just doing this logically, taking everything backwards. Estrogen's processed in the gut and the liver. That means if you have a gut problem, an intestinal problem, a pancreas problem, a stomach problem, or you have a liver problem, you're going to have an estrogen problem. Estrogen is a fatty hormone. And estrogen toxicity from its accumulation or its presence as a foreign chemical, they call that xenoestrogens, and they're in the water and they're in plastics. or poor estrogen detoxification from intestinal problems and liver problems is extremely common, and fat malabsorption is extremely common. So here are your clues to dealing with fibromyalgia if you're one of the millions of sufferers. Focus on fats, focus on the intestine, focus on liver, focus on probiotics, good bacteria, vitamin E, fatty vitamins. It's no coincidence that according to the Journal of Cell Biochemistry and Function, fat-soluble nutrients, vitamin A, vitamin E, carotenes are deficient in fibromyalgia patients. It's because it's a fatty issue. It's an estrogen issue and a fatty issue, and they're related. So you focus on fats. If you're dealing with fibromyalgia, this information, if you know somebody who's dealing with fibromyalgia, this information is the most powerful and invaluable information they will ever hear about their condition. If you have fibromyalgia, use progesterone cream, use pregnenolone, use your ultimate EFAs, focus on fat absorption by using your ultimate enzymes after all your meals. Get on lecithin. Lecithin is phenomenally helpful and important for nutrition and for good health and for fat metabolism and for fibromyalgia patients. And take your fatty vitamins and your lecithin together. Vitamin A, 20,000 IU a day. Vitamin E, 400 IU a day. Make sure you're getting out in the sun. Make sure you're using your Biolumin nightly essence and eating fermented foods. Fasting. If you want to see how powerful eating and digestive health is when it comes to dealing with fibromyalgia, fast for 24 hours. Do a Swear V cleanse. Go get yourself some Swear V. Call 1-866-735-2470. Tell them you want the Swear V cleanse. And they'll send you some paperwork, and they'll explain you how to do it. It's real simple. You just do a bottle of Swear V every couple of hours, half a bottle an hour or so, for 24 hours, or 36 hours, or 48 hours, or 72 hours. 2 or 3 days, 1 day, half a day. As you put less food into your digestive system and ultimately into your blood, you'll have less toxicity. And don't forget about the progesterone cream either, or the pregnenolone, either one. Pregnenolone, 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 100 milligrams a day. Or don't forget about bile salts. Now, you'll get some in the ultimate enzymes, but bile salts can be really helpful for fibromyalgia patients. Again, take your bile salts and your ultimate enzymes with your fatty vitamins and your fatty foods as well. So, fibromyalgia, 5 million people suffer from it needlessly. If you know anybody who's suffering from fibromyalgia, have them listen to this archive. All right, so vitamin E's fat protection effects are not just for the nerves. They're not just for the brain. They are certainly important for the nerves in the brain, but they're also important for the skin. This can be very helpful when it comes to sun worshipers. In fact, you can dramatically reduce the impact of sunburn and not even get sunburn if you do things correctly. You don't stay out in the sun too long and you use vitamin E. Vitamin E will reduce the impact and the incidence of sunburn. So you'll get less sunburn, and you may not even get any sunburn if you do it correctly. Vitamin E is also important for the eyes for the same reason. Vitamin E is an energy dampening vitamin. It sucks up excess energy. So the spark, think of excess energy from light or from the sun as being sparks. Vitamin E mops up those sparks. It makes it important not just for skin health, but also for eye health. And in protecting your eyes from the sun and protecting your skin from the sun is very similar because, in a way, the eyes are a type of skin. It's actually called epithelial tissue, and the surface of the skin anyway, is called epithelial tissue as well. So macular degeneration is a type of sunburn sunburn of the eyes. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We're coming back with your phone calls at 844-236-6010 right after this. Don't go away. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 24/7 on our archive pages at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com. BenFuchsArchives.com. You can also check out our blog, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. You can order products off all the websites or sign up to join the Brightside Ben team as well. From the journal, Archives of Dermatology, Evaluation of the Photoprotective Effect of Oral Vitamin E Supplementation. Using vitamin E for It's photoprotective benefits from this one from, where is this from? From the Photosynthesis Research Group. Evidence for the photoprotective effects of vitamin E. The antioxidant vitamin E may protect both animal and plant cell membranes from light-induced damage. From the journal Brain Research, neuroprotective effect of vitamin E in the early model of Parkinson's disease. From the journal Skin Pharmacology and Physiology, photoprotection of UV irradiated immune skin, antioxidants, vitamin E and C, selenium, and carotenoids. Photoprotect. I'm telling you, guys, this stuff is so cheap, too. This stuff is like a penny a day, 2 pennies a day, 5 cents a day. If you're not supplementing with vitamin E, you are totally missing the boat on the most protective, fat-protective nutritional supplement you could ever use, especially considering its inexpensive nature. All right, I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. This is your common sense nutritional program. Let's go to our phones, 844-236-6010, 844-236-6010. Garima, what's going on? My friend Garima in Texas. Garima, you there? No?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello,
I hear you.
Hear me?
Yes, I hear you now. Hi, Garima.
Hi.
Hey.
I wanted to ask you about my parents. I know what you're going to say, but I want them to hear it.
Are they listening?
They're listening.
Okay, good.
I'll give you the description. My mom has the most problems. She has heart problems. She has tachycardia, which is rapid heart rate, and pressure on her heart at least 2 or 3 times a day. Every time she gets stressed, loses her temper, walks around, does any cooking, and she has slightly elevated blood pressure. She can't walk because her knee
Okay,
doesn't hurt.
I get the picture here. I get the picture. What's the other one?
She has bruising also.
Bruising. Okay. All right. Okay.
And
Now what?
She's taking Plavix, and she's taking statins. He's exercising also. And my dad had a bypass. He's exercising also. And he has hearing loss. His eye twitches, which I told him he needs to take magnesium, and he has also some memory loss, I think.
Okay.
Anyway.
We can stop right there. Here, I get the picture. First of all, how old are your parents?
My mom is 79. My dad is 84.
Okay, so we can only do what we could do. Sometimes older folks have, understandably, have been living a certain way for 8 decades. They're not going to turn things.
I forgot. They both have rotting teeth and infected gum.
Okay. They're both falling apart, Garima.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know. They're falling apart. Remember, I don't know, you probably heard me say this. The World Health Organization says there's 12,800 different diseases. There's not 12,800 different diseases. There's one. It's called MBFA disease. My body is falling apart disease, period.
Yep.
It's the only disease anybody has. My body's falling apart. And it falls apart sometimes more or sometimes less, but if you have a chronic degenerative disease, it's falling apart. In your parents' case, it's falling apart a lot. So we got to reverse the process. So first of all, right from the get-go, get them on the healthy, if they're serious about this, get them on the Healthy Start Pack, having them sip on the BTT. This is in the interest of metaphorically stopping the bleeding. Okay, that's the first thing you got to do. These guys are leaking. Their life force is leaking out. And at this point, there's not a lot left. Do you understand me, Garima?
I understand.
Okay, their chi, if you will. Their life force is leaking out. Your parents will understand this. We got to stop the bleeding. Immediately get them on the BTT and the Healthy Start Pack, sipping on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Then have your mom understand that her tachycardia and her heart issues and her high blood pressure issues are all signs of dirty blood, period. And the boneheaded strategy of giving Plavix and statin to an already toxic system is unspeakably idiotic. Unspeakably. Yep. However, at this point, she doesn't have any choice. These are emergency measures. Plavix being a Hang on a second, ma'am, Garima, just one moment. Plavix is a major, major blood thinner. So what does that tell you? It tells you her blood is all sticky and cloggy and dirty and polluted and trashy and filthy and toxic. And I'm being graphic intentionally. So the strategy of thinning the blood artificially pharmacologically is fraught with danger, because the body's trying to protect itself. That's why it's clumped. That's why the blood is clogged up, so the crap doesn't get delivered everywhere. Now you thin the blood, and now all that crap is spread out throughout the body. How do you stop this thing from happening? Food, digestion. So this is where it becomes tricky for a 79-year-old or an 80-year-old person. They're not going to want to change the way they eat. Now, if she is one of the rare ones who's serious about her health, she has 30 more years to live, or more, if she does this correctly. If not, she'd rather have her, the food she's eating, understandably, I'm not beating her up, it's very understandable, then it's going to be a lot trickier. But if she can support digestive health by limiting the amount of food she eats, she doesn't need a lot of calories at this point unless she's in the gym, which she should be. Okay? She doesn't need a lot of calories. She needs a little calories, very little, and a lot of nutrition. So intermittent fasting, eating less food, focusing on protein and vegetables, living vegetables. Now, I take it you're Indian, right, Garima? You're Indian gal? Your parents are Indian, so they're probably eating lots of mushy carbohydrates, comfort foods, right?
Overcooked veggies. And
all of that. Yes, exactly. This is what, for some reason, there's probably cultural reasons why Indian food tends to be mushy and stewy and carbohydrate rich. So she's going to have to switch that around and go into the living proteins, sprouts, wheatgrass, anything that's living food. I'm sorry, or was a live food. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Garima.
She can't chew anything right now because she
can't even chew. Juices. Get her wheatgrass juice. Get her a Vitamix. Have her do soups, vegetable soups. Have her do smoothies, protein smoothies, the ultimate daily. Get her in on get her do some brisk walking, something to stress her body a little bit, the muscles a little bit, force her body to grow. And by the way, same with your dad. It's the same exact issues. They're both just falling apart. Now, blood sugar is going to be important. Oxygenation, have her practicing her deep breathing techniques. That's going to be important. But for the most part, you're dealing with an emergency replacement of nutrients. That's your Healthy Start Pack. And emergency control over the digestive system by controlling food. And the Biolumin Nightly Essence and fermented food would help, too. What kind of fermented food do Indians eat? I'm sure there's an Indian native.
There's lassi. I give her lassi. That's the one she likes.
Spell it for me. Spell it, Garima. Spell lusty, you said?
Lusty is basically buttermilk. It's fermented milk. It's
okay, good.
Beer.
Good. How do you spell lusty? L-U-S-T-Y?
Lassi. Lusty.
Lassi. Oh, that's what that is. Okay, I've seen it on menus. All right, Garima, I got to motivate. Does that help you? Sip on the BTT. If she wants to do something right away, sip on the BTT. It'll make a huge difference and very quickly. Sip on it, though. Okay, and then have her doing the deep breathing techniques and then all the other stuff we just talked about. All right, Garima?
She can't absorb anything. Yeah.
No, that's why you liquefy. She's not going to absorb. She's going to have problems. But liquefy. Always liquefy. All right, God bless you, my dear. Have a beautiful day. We'll talk later. All right, hang tight if you're on hold. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we will be back with more good health information right after this. Back on the bright side, 844-236-6010 is our number. Let's go to Jason in Colorado. Good morning. What's up, Jason?
Hi, Ben.
Hey, what's cooking, buddy? Where are you?
Not much. I'm in Johnstown, actually, Colorado.
Okay. Oh, yeah, nice. What do you do out there?
I actually run a logistics business and real estate company out in Johnstown.
Very cool. I'm sure real estate in Johnstown must be booming.
It is getting pretty crazy in northern Colorado, that's for sure. I'm also a team member of yours.
Nice.
Has been for a couple of years. So
have we met?
No, but we've talked before. One time you actually called me. You were very generous and called me, and we talked a little bit about asthma and allergies.
I remember it. That was a few years ago. Ago. Yeah, I remember that. So how you doing? What's going on today?
I'm doing great, man. I just appreciate everything what you do. You're changing lives out there. God, I got a list of things, but I want to be brief because I want to respect other callers also. But my wife, she's a runner. She's run a few marathons. Okay. Last year she ran the Rock and Roll Marathon, and they confused the marathon. There was a bunch of people that actually didn't finish the marathon because they did not have it flagged properly. Okay. And ever since then, she took on that. It was like a big rush of anxiety. And so since that happened, there's been so many symptoms that she's been experiencing. So she got a really tense, stiff neck. Of course, we went to the doctor. He had us go through all these MRIs and everything, and it came back where she had some bulging. According to him, she had some bulging discs. But I feel he was just trying to push his stem cell treatments, which were $10,000 each on us. He's trying to get us to pay for that.
Unbelievable.
So she's been dealing with so many different things over the last few years. The big thing right now is anxiety, but heavy, painful periods for short 3 days.
Is she still running a lot?
She's cut it down to about 4 miles a day.
And how old is she?
We just turned 40, both of us, this year.
Congratulations. Okay.
Thanks.
Life begins at 40, and 40 is the new 30, FYI. Okay. I'm 55, so I don't feel too sorry for you. 55 is the new 50, and that doesn't sound so good. Anyway, so here's the deal. Your wife is basically being burdened by something. The periods, the problems with her periods, the anxiety, all of these are telling me something is interfering with her chemistry and her body's responding with a stress response. But here's where it gets tricky. There could be mental and emotional issues as well as physiological issues, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're all three there. Is she just a type A kind of jumpy person anyway? It sounds like she might be. Marathon running is an intense kind of activity, and you got to have a certain amount of that angst to be a marathon runner. Somebody's got to drive you to want to run 20 miles. The average person doesn't do that. What is a marathon? 20 miles or something? Some 12 miles? 23 miles.
26,
Jason,
like that, yeah.
Jason, that's craziness. I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying it's craziness. So it takes a certain amount of that type of personality. So what I'm saying is I'm going to give you some physiologic things here, but don't underestimate the mental and emotional components to what you're talking about, okay? Now, go ahead.
Well, I'm so sorry, Ben. One more thing. I just want to squeeze this in there, and I sure appreciate it. We just had some panels done. We just did an annual because we don't, I just really don't trust doctors anymore. So we went and did our own testing locally, and her thyroid levels, the TSH level, came back to where it was like in the range of 5, and the normal range is about 3.2.
So she's jacked up. Her thyroid's jacked up.
Yes.
Okay, well, then there's a food problem there, too, which I would have suspected. Okay, so here's what you do. Hyperthyroidism or Graves' disease is an autoimmune condition. It's a sign that the body is attacking. On some level, there's an attack going on. Remember, immunity means attack. That's always going to be backtracked to digestion. Number one, a food diary. Focus on her digestive system. This is a woman who absolutely should be fasting and practicing intermittent fasting regularly. Absolutely. That will calm the body down. She needs to have her body calm down. Fasting is a great strategy. It's also a great bodybuilding or muscle building strategy, too. When under conditions of intermittent fasting, the body's growth hormone systems and anabolic systems turn on. You follow me? And this is what she needs to be doing. The more she runs a marathon under these conditions, the more she's hurting herself. She shouldn't be working hard at this point. She should be working a little bit, but not intensely at this point till everything stabilizes. So you got to calm the body down with food. That means intermittent fasting and doing a food diary, eliminating problem foods. I guarantee you, she's got to have digestive health issues, probably loose stools or diarrhea or something along those lines, maybe constipation, something along those lines. The fact that she's not having her periods tells me that there's something off with her female hormones, and again, that takes me to the digestive system as well. Probiotics, good bacteria, progesterone cream or pregnenolone capsules, pretty much everything we talked about earlier. Digestive support to get her on the ultimate enzymes in fasting and eliminating problem foods. You might want to throw in some extra fat metabolizing nutrients because of the relationship between fats and estrogen and female hormones. That would be bile salts, B-I-L-E, bile salts, lecithin, apple cider vinegar after all of her meals, in addition to the ultimate enzymes. The Z-Radical or the Fucoid Z would probably be a good idea for her to be on. Hopefully she's already on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine and the Healthy Start Pack. If she's not, get her on those. Calming the body down, in addition to fasting, calming the body down through slow, deep breathing. Yoga or stretching or Pilates would be a way better workout for her than a marathon. Although I'm not saying that, telling her what to do with her exercise preferences, but she needs to be doing slow, stabilizing kinds of exercises, slowing down kinds of exercise. Tai Chi, for example, things where she's more in control and slowing things down. The deep breathing is unbelievably valuable. Unbelievably, especially for a marathon runner. Slow, deep breathing. 15 seconds in, 15 seconds out. Breathe into the belly. That means the intestine, the lower part of your body, the the solar plexus area, even lower. That's how you want to deep breathe. You always want to focus on getting past the middle of your body. Most of us breathe, when we breathe, we stop at the middle of our body. We disconnect the top part of our body from the bottom part of our body. We disconnect our head from our body. This is one of the major strategies for dealing with stress, is disconnecting the head from the body through poor breathing techniques. Conversely, when you breathe into your belly, you get over that hump, that middle part, and you connect the lower body to the upper body. So it's very important that she practices her slow, deep breathing, not just inhaling, but also exhaling, blowing out carbon dioxide. So digestive support, the deep breathing, relaxing the body, intermittent fasting. I didn't even touch on blood sugar, but there's probably a blood sugar issue there as well. So more protein and more fats and less carbohydrates and sweet kinds of foods. There's tons of stuff you could do, but that's a great place for you to start. And absolutely positively, if she's not sipping on that BTT, she should be doing it right away. All right?
Great, Ben. Is there an email address that I can maybe reach out to you, being up here in northern Colorado?
Yeah, I'd love that. Ben at ksco.com. Ben at K for King, S for Sam, C for Cat, O for Oscar.com. Okay? I'm going to move on. I got a bunch of calls here. Thank you, Jason. Take care, man. Hope I hear from you. All right, let's go to June in PA, June in Pennsylvania. What's up, June? Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Ben. I have been suffering with uncontrollable high blood pressure.
Okay.
Up until about a year ago. I'm a vegetarian. I do the protein drinks. I do the alkaline water. I was on a drug called lisinopril, and
Are you still on the lisinopril?
No, I came off of all meds a year ago.
Let's take care of that blood pressure. I'm going to run out of time. I'll get about a minute, okay, June? High blood pressure is always a sign of a body in distress. And so what you got to do is you got to calm the body down. First, the fastest way to calm the body down is to deep breathe. I'm going to do everything we just talked about with Jason, with our last caller. Okay, connect the upper body, the lower body, breathe into the belly or into the lower part of your body, into your feet. You can even breathe into your feet, if you think about it. Just pull the breath down as much as you can. 15 seconds in, 15 seconds out. Hot baths are a great way to lower your blood pressure. Nobody has high blood pressure in a hot tub, all right, or a hot bath or a hot shower. And those are for emergencies, quick emergencies, to lower the blood pressure quickly. But over the long term, there's lots of things you could do. Number one, you got to stabilize your blood sugar. Elevated blood sugar will raise your blood pressure, period. That's called metabolic syndrome. So you got to stabilize the blood sugar, eating less insulin spiking foods, fruits and desserts and sweets and all the foods we love, chocolate and cereals and bagels and pasta. I'm not saying zero tolerance, but wean yourself off of those as best as possible. And when you eat those kinds of foods, especially when you eat desserts and sweet foods, make sure you drink a lot of water and make sure you're using your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. That will mitigate some of the damage. Vitamin E, by the way, is wonderful for thinning the blood and for improving the blood pressure and improving blood sugar. So 400 IU a day of vitamin E. So I'm out of time here, but just to cut to the chase, relaxing the body, using good nutrition, the Healthy Start Pack for sure, your Beyond Tangy Tangerine. Get yourself on some extra vitamin E, 400 international units a day. And don't forget your ultimate EFAs. They're unbelievably important. Omega-3s anyway, for high blood pressure. June, if you call back on Monday, I'll finish up. There's tons more I could tell you, but we're just flat out of time. I apologize, and I apologize if I left you on hold. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, spectacular, beautiful day. We'll talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.